Hello everybody and welcome. My name is Kasie.Oswald. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to talk level 2. It was a request from Laura. She had asked the question about level 2 and making it more interesting, especially when we have students like transitioning from level 1. She especially wants to talk about learning at school and school phrases, how to make them more interesting and fun.
With any of the lower levels, you can make it fun with your reward. I mean, especially like if they're coming from level 1, they know how to say my name is, they know where to say they're from, they, especially that first unit there. So you can really spend a lot of time adapting the lesson to them, through that reward. And what I really like about this is where you start to build that rapport. If they like princesses and you're throwing up a bunch of Meg princesses on your screen, they're all like, oh, or if they say, they like Elsa, my classroom just got really cold, and then I'll throw up and like they just love that.
With that level, I try to look at maybe what they have. Maybe if they have a Mickey Mouse on their shirt, I'll grab something Disney-ish. This is my Meg princesses. I used this one today. My little girl, I had one reward this morning, and then she showed me a princess castle. I'm like, I'm doing the princesses today. I also, for school phrases, I have like a backpack and it has all the school supplies in it. I printed these off, probably the reward thing. I have a black one and a red one, and I'll give them a choice. But I also have different things where I could give them choices of what they want to put in it. And then I also have a goldfish and a baby. There's a picture of stinky socks, so you could also put some funny things in there too.
I like these lunchroom, hallway. This says hall on one side, but I write hallway on the other side. School, so I have those. And I also have the ones that have the markers and the glue.
I have different ones. I bought the Kennison's Creations on Teachers Pay Teachers.
Oh, yeah.
And she's got the different words and the word under it, which I like. Most people are visual learners, and even though you say phone 1,000 times, they're like, they can't remember, but when they see it, it helps. Plus what I try to do, especially if they're a little bit more advanced, I ask them, do you have a phone? I look around like, do you have a phone? And then they usually have their parents, if their parents are nearby. And that way they can associate, oh yes, I have a phone, not just the phone that you're showing them, whether it's your phone or a picture of a phone, but they can associate what you're saying with something tangible.
If they find it around their house, that's always the best. I think something too with phone is I have a conversation with them, like pretend. So when I teach phone, I dial them, hello, Susie. Yeah. And then I make them talk to me like they're talking on a phone. At the end, we hang up and slam the phone. And they think that's hilarious. And we say bye-bye. And so that actually is carried with me from a level 2 unit 1 all the way into recently. We were doing phone with I talked to my parents. So then we were again talking. So it's just something fun that I carry on with my students that comes when I teach phone. Something else I do is with those rooms we just talked about is a lot of level 2 unit, the early ones are about he and she. And I think that's not very clear to kids because remember in Chinese, in their language, they don't have pronouns for people. So as extension, every time I teach a room, so if I teach lunchroom, she is in the lunchroom. He is in the lunchroom, and we do that for every single room. So hallway, lunchroom, library, Meg and Mike as he and she are in all the rooms.
I have found the students don't really understand the concept of verb very well. I don't think it's talked about much in the lessons. This is one of the flashcards that was in the Kennison Creation. So it has the verb and then it conjugates it. So I take the time to go over it if it's in the lesson.
If you're teaching, this is a tablet, like I try to use my tablet for that reward system. They see it, we're talking about a tablet, we're using a tablet, but we're having fun, right? Because we're building a crayon box or a princess scene or whatever is on that tablet. Many times in level 2, especially if they're not coming from level 1, they just joined in level 2, they have trouble answering those questions right away. And so you want to use a puppet. Have the puppet ask the question. how are you? And you're like, I'm fine. And then you ask the kid, how are you? So the puppet is asking the question, not giving the answer. I get a bigger response. I get more success that way because the puppet's always asking the question. I recommend some kind of big prop with a question mark. I saw a couple of you hold them up too. When you're teaching them the first time, this is the question, you give the answer. If you're showing that consistent prop, it can help them throughout the lesson as well.
Here's my best tip. Unfortunately, you're going to have to write on the whiteboard a lot. So as they're coming from level 1 into level 2, kids don't always recognize one-to-one correspondence of words and reading, because in level 1, it's all about repeating. In level 2, we're all about the reading. So what I do is I make a point of writing on my whiteboard and I point to the letters and we read. I do that more in level 2 units 1 and 2 than any other class I ever teach. Almost every sentence frame I write and point because it really teaches them those words. I have a fun reward where I write the high frequency word on the Meg or like that in stars. So every time a reward, I'm going to pop up Meg and she's got a dress and it's going to have for and you and the and I for all those first classes. Actually, I saw a really smart teacher. She had a flower, one of those flowers from the store that's like a, what is that spins? What is that called?
A windmill?
And she wrote each of the high frequency words on the little spinner. For the reward, she'd flip the little spinner and read the words for the reward. And I thought that was brilliant.
The one thing I've noticed is some of the students have a difficulty because they're learning the letters in level 1. And so one of the first couple lessons they talk about, these are letters, these are numbers. When they see the alphabet, they're like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, because that's what they've been trained to do in level 1. One thing I did was to help, like, I gave these little things. One is letters, one is numbers.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
It just did it today. It's a cookie sheet, so the magnets stick to it.
A lot of the students know the letters in order. They can say it A, B, C, D, E, F, G. But then if you show them a letter, they're like, they don't know. I'll show them random, what letter is this? Especially when we're working on letters and numbers. And if you've worked with the level 1 students and they're transitioning to level 2, I try to start working on that more at the end of level 1, because usually by the end of level 1, some of these kids are so bored, would look ahead to level 2, what's coming up, and you can use your time to extend that way.
Level 1 is a lot of singing and a lot of fun things, and then level 2, I've seen some kids, they're like, oh, okay. But I think the kids grow up, like they seem to grow into new phases. They expect it. My kids have transitioned fairly well, but at the very beginning, they're like, where's all the songs?
Yeah.
You can sing. Like, I mean, sometimes I sing. This is a letter. Like you don't have to have that music. Like you sing and then cup your ear and they're going to sing back. I mean, especially if that's what they're used to.
I think the most powerful learning is when kids are playing. I spend a ton of time on the reward slide. I don't use it as a reward, but it's actually a time to give my warm up and play with the kid. The one where we build the house and it's all different colors, or the flower that is different colors. I teach them sentences that go along with all those colors. And if they can handle petal or stem, I'm teaching them many more words, because for higher level kids, that color unit, they know all the colors. They learn that in their kindergarten 2 or 3 years before. The animals on the farm, they go on the barn. They go on kind of on Meg's head. I mean, there are so many things that are fun. Once you play with them, I think that brings their interest into the class. So that reward slide is almost like 5 minutes of my lesson, which like rocks people's world sometimes, but it works for me because they're playing. When they're playing and learning, that is so powerful. Writing is one of the components that in our curriculum is not there. So for me, I always am writing with my students and encouraging them to write. We're learning letter formation. So that blank slide, I often switch to the blank slide, and then I remember the slide number I'm on and then I swap back. for lots of different activities. So a little bit later in level 2, as kids are reading where it's all the consonant, vowel, consonant words, I often use the last slide and my whiteboard to write with them. I would have them actually create a sentence using the word. So if like the word was mat, I would have them think of a sentence if they had those English skills, and some kids can, and then I would write the sentence, the boy has a mat, and they would write on the white blank slide. The last slide is good for drawing too. So I'll have the kid draw a phone, draw a tablet. If you ignite another part of their brain to help them remember the vocabulary words, it's always a great idea.
If they're having trouble with sentences, I use my fingers a lot. I'll say, this is a phone, and then I want them to repeat. And if they go, this is phone, and I'm like, uh-oh. And so then they, maybe know that they've missed a word or whatever. And I'll say it again, this is a phone. And, and then you get this is a phone. And kind of over exaggerate.
In that school lesson, we teach them, yes, I sit on a desk at school or whatever. So I'll show it, yes, I sit on a desk. And then maybe I'll erase a word. And then I'll ask that question again, and then they have to fill it in. And then the next time I'll erase another word. And so that way they get a feeling of accomplishment, like they're doing it themselves, and you're just giving them gradual baby steps.
Laura said she tried using AR stickers, but they seem distracting.
Yeah.
I think it depends on the student. I have, one student who every day she wants to know what she's going to be, right? And so I'll give her 3 options, and then she's that thing, all the way through. And I've had to learn not to give her options of something where it's feeding her that piece of cake, because she'll stop in the sentence and eat that cake and then keep going. But, that one student wants them the whole class. Some students, they want them intermittently. But then today, like I said, I taught a new student. We were talking about colors and cats, and I made her be a cat, and she started doing this all of a sudden, So, she doesn't like that. So I took them away and made a note. So I think it just depends on your student.
One student I have, she's level 3 now. I taught her most of level 2. I presented some rewards, and she'll say, no, thank you. And I'm like, well, then nothing. Then I learned she likes sparkly stuff. She's a girly girl, right? So when we did the level 2 lesson they talk about art and whatever, I had this paintbrush. So I pretend I'm painting her, and I'm like, you're a
nice
butterfly. And then I click on the butterfly, and then it's like, you're a princess. But it looks like I'm painting. And that way it helps kind of reiterate that word, and she has some fun because she really lights up when she sees the AR stickers, but only certain ones.
I had a student that demanded them. She demanded that I find this certain ones, and I didn't know all the stickers. I didn't know which one was which, and she was just, no, I want this. And then I had to learn, first we do this slide, and then you get this. So I had to use first, then with her, and I still do use first, then with her.
I learned from Shannon Mabry about TPR that TPR is not just us doing it, it's actually the kids doing it.
Yes.
Something to say in level 2 is that level 2 kids are very, very willing to do TPR.
Yes.
So when I teach the consonant vowel consonant blendings, we say at cat. And I have a little boy that does that with me consistently, and I really think that helps him to really put those sounds together. He's been with me for 3 units, and gosh, his hands are still doing that. So really in level 2, kids aren't very shy or unsure about using their hands in TPR. That TPR is them. Total physical response is kids doing it, not us doing it. And Shannon's the queen of that. So I'm sharing her message. So that tall and short, long, longer, longest, it's all done with their hands. So I teach it, and then we put our hands to it. I do this on ManyCam. So I'll actually type the sentence frame. So again, like I'll use the whiteboard, but I use this too. I'll use the chat box. You got to vary what you use.
Yeah.
So this is like called the text on ManyCam. And so I'll type, this is hello Amy from my last class, but I'll type like a little greeting opening. And then as we're learning the vocabulary, like architecture, when I'm teaching level 4 or whatever word, I'll type it here so the kid can see it. And then I'll point and read the sentence. This is my cat. This is my dad. So again, it's right on the screen where the kids' eyes are, which is so powerful.
So, I mean, I do that too, exactly. And I'll make it big. Like I'm half of the screen and they're half of the screen, but it's drawing their attention. And like Amanda said, it's something different. Yeah, sometimes you're holding up this whiteboard, but sometimes that's hard to see, or sometimes they just get bored. So you pop up like, you know, their favorite color and start writing on that. It kind of draws their attention back to you, back to what you're doing in the lesson.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.